So Mike details in his shocking interview-related documentary about so much that took place in the workforce, as well as some Love Island interesting conversations that I'm glad that he had.
At that point, I'm thinking, wow, I'm really actually being compared to a random black guy. So I said it as a passing joke. I was like, oh, is that just because we're black? And he had, at that point, the sergeant had a serious look on his face like, I genuinely think that looks like you.
Hey guys, it's Murad Morali. Hope you guys are doing well today. If you haven't already, click that button for daily and consistent content. Head over to my Instagram, Murad_Morali, and let's get into this video. Subscribe. Please don't send any hate to anybody involved in this video. This is just to address everything that has taken place and do a review of when it comes to this documentary that Mike has put out on his YouTube. Now this I find to be very shocking because he went through so much. We're going to get into it. He mentions Love Island, he talks about Priscilla, he talks about Shaughna, and he talks about the police force as well.
It was the first moment where I genuinely thought about, like, this just happened. I don't even really get racially abused outside the police force. It's never really happened. So now that I'm sat here in the police, you know, I've overcome all of these hurdles, all these barriers.
And also the papers that were coming out. So when it comes to the police force, he basically exposes the police racism in reference to how he was called a gorilla and how people didn't really do much about it in terms of the classes and the shock value that they had. You know, someone had called him that, then that person, police officer, apologized to him, said it was an instinct move, which is even more worse. But it's not surprising to know that nobody around will do anything about it because that is just a simple form of social group influence.
He got X, Y, and Z moved, so now everybody needs to be careful of him when he comes in. So as soon as I came into division, even though I was enjoying the role, it was interacting with people and actually getting along with colleagues that was the main issue.
People want to adapt to societal kind of norms, especially when it comes to groups and who they are influenced by, and they're scared to act against them because it may inflict upon them as well. And it's very obviously sad that he went through that, but then it even got even worse to the point that he was called into the office on day 2. He was called into the office on day flipping 2 because apparently they said that he was Mike Boateng, a different Mike. He was a footballer, and they showed pictures of side by side and it looked completely different to who he is. So that in itself is such a direct, subconscious, or even conscious, disgusting form of racism that we're seeing here on day 2 of his work. You know, in his workforce, how would you feel that on day 2 this is what's happening to me, and that the police officer wouldn't even believe it, that he had to call somebody else in for extra validation, and then Mike had to bring in a passport the next day to show that this other black man is not me. Not all black men look the same, and it's so disgusting. Like, I was like, how dumb people really are. So dumb in this world. It's actually just so mad. It's actually so mad. And we better be using this hashtag be kind for Mike as well, or is that only applicable to white Love Islanders? Because don't piss me off, because the way I'm seeing it, well, you know, I don't see any of this hashtag be kind for anybody else that isn't white. I'm just saying that right now. I'm really just saying that, and I feel like something that's under the carpet that nobody wants to talk about. And, you know, people are saying that we shouldn't address Connor's racism because we should be kind, but was he being kind to my black men? To let me know. So I don't understand, because we damn well know if my man was not white, that there would be other issues going on and he would be dragged and exposed, like Mike was being dragged and exposed when it comes to the papers and what was going on there, and how he had to address that, and all those issues one after the other, all of the stuff being taken left, right and center, and how he was dragged through the mud. But where's that energy for anybody else? I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense for issues that were far worse. And this wasn't even an issue that he did. This was just a negative narrative. And he goes on to talk about how, you know, there was questionable behavior from his colleagues.
Have an issue with me and you don't speak to me about it, I'm not going to approach you as well. I'm just going to get on with my stuff. And I feel like that really irritated people, the fact that I was just cracking on, and they were really frustrated with it, basically.
That he found it very difficult to make friends, and that was the hardest part of your journey. Imagine in your new workforce now, you've jumped from being a footballer to a police officer. Your family or friends are like, I don't know if you should be doing this. He wants to do it. Day 1 and day 2, you have so much trials and tribulations, and now you're also finding it hard to make friends. Like, I just feel like it's just such a sad story, man. I just feel so sorry for him, but I'm glad that he spoke out about it, and you can see that the way he's doing it, his decorum, his behavior, his body language is very relaxed, controlled. He understands what he's doing. He's comfortable doing it. And I feel like, you know, I'm glad that we're hearing this because it helps us to build that bridge with Mike as an individual. And I feel like this in itself was a very good and important video to make. My only issue was that he put a lot of teasers out, could have just dropped it. But I feel like it's a very important video to make, and I feel like it is the most impactful video any Islander from this season has made post when it comes to YouTube in terms of gravity and depth, because it builds that bridge with people. So hopefully, you know, it attains more views and hopefully people listen to it. It is a bit of a long interview, 50 minutes to an hour, but it is a very interesting interview indeed. So it definitely kept me enthralled and I watched the majority of the interview. But I feel like those issues were just very, very sad indeed. We then have this idea when he's talking about when it comes to the racism that people in the office and workforce were kind of scared of him. Scared of him in the chance that, you know, he may complain or whatever, and then these officers might get moved again and moved again and moved again, like it happened in previous situations. So this, therefore, the narrative gets changed. The narrative gets changed. The narrative isn't Mike was the one who got racially abused. The narrative is Mike is troublesome. Do you see how that narrative gets changed immediately and how it gives people ammunition to hate him even more, even when you speak out about issues that hurt you? Because, you know, the police force, all these forces are really controlled and supported by such a white supremacy kind of tailored system, and you need to infiltrate and dismantle the entire system, because these type of problems will keep on taking place, because the consequences for these officers were that they were moved. They weren't fired, they weren't disciplined, they weren't sanctioned, they weren't suspended, they were moved. Rather than they should be suspended and put into classes so that they can learn and understand their behavior, and then they should be given a test to see if they're past their behavior and should be monitored for the next 2 years of the career at minimum least. That should be what people should be getting. But to be just moved to a different department, what have you learned? What has changed? Nothing at all. The system needs to be infiltrated and completely dismantled entirely. And I feel like, you know, him speaking about this is beautiful, because you're raising massive concerns about what goes on and how you would hardly ever see any black officers working around with him. There would be one or two here or there, and you would just hardly see it. So that in itself was a very important part of the interview. He then goes and talks about Love Island and addresses Shaughna.
And there were a couple instances where people were kind of talking behind your back. Get your Shaughna's nominating you as a game player, and just a little bickering here.
You're right. Obviously, in the villa, I never really saw any of that. But now, having come out, I have watched it back, and obviously I have seen certain people, you know, talk about me behind my back. You mentioned Shaughna. Yeah, but obviously at the time I thought me and Shaughna had a very close relationship. Obviously now, having watched back, I have seen there were instances where her herself, she was, you know, talking about me behind my back, you know, and then coming up to me another minute and being nicey.
And talks about basically her fakery, and that he was really upset watching back the episodes, and how she was, you know, saying that he's my big brother, my this, but then talking shit about him behind his back, and how she was really troublesome.
There was a few other people as well who also decided to talk about me behind my back as well. It's weird to see, but, you know, that's always going to be people, in it. Not everybody's the same. I chose personally to be in the villa and just be open and honest with everyone. And I feel like that was seen. You couldn't really edit that.
Now, from an audience perspective, you know, she was giving us content. We love the entertainment. But from as well as a producer perspective, but from a friend perspective, for Mike, of course, he saw that as very fakery. He saw that as just shocking, and I'm glad he addressed that kind of Shaughna nonsense, because these two clearly aren't friends. They just have some troublesome kind of situation. You know, 1 minute you're addressing with your brother, the next minute you're doing a madness, and clearly these two haven't been seen together post the villa anyways. So clearly they're not fucking with each other, and I wouldn't even be surprised. Like, it makes sense to me, to be honest with you. The way he was addressing it, and then he addressed the Sophie stuff as well, and said that it was never that serious. And then he also goes into how that Love Island has made it serious. They made a situation that it wasn't, which I found interesting. But what I found really interesting is, yet again, he actually didn't move on to Jess as quickly as we thought he did.
I'm surprised the Sophie thing was ever even a situation.
Bro,
if I'm completely honest, it was never a situation. Production or the powers that be would make it seem like I moved straight on to Jess, which wasn't actually the case. The next day, I actually didn't speak to anybody. I was in the gym. That's what, if you needed to see Mike, you could catch Mike in the gym.
It was just the producer's cut. He actually never spoke to anybody for 24 hours and then proceeded with Leanne's permission or asking Leanne. So really and truly, he wasn't moving as quickly as we all thought he was. It was the producers who were giving this negative narrative to him. And this is what I've said: don't go on shows like this, because your narrative, you're not in control of it. You can get facetious edits 24/7, and you have to come out to hate, come out to seeing as fake, come out seeing as moving too quickly, and you can't do anything about it because the producers have told you to do X, Y, and Z, because it becomes so mischievous and so annoying. At least if you want to do it all fake, make it look lit. Do you understand? Because if you're making it look fake and it's dead, then it's just even more dead. And he did carry the season. He said that he wasn't able to see it, but he definitely was one of the few characters who carried that season for a very long time. Shaughna, although I'm not a fan of her, did carry the season for a little bit in the first coming of weeks. We have Shaughna who carried the season as well. I feel like those two were just really the main characters for me, basically, when it comes to the season. And they really helped to carry it. But, you know, addressing the Sophie stuff, people made it out to be something that it never was. And him moving on to Jess actually wasn't as quickly as we thought it was. That's the real gag for me that I was taken aback when he was talking about Love Island in general. I was like, really? That's pissed me off, because I thought, okay, he wasn't somebody who was a game player, but he was somebody who would move on quickly. Apparently that isn't even true either. So I wonder why he got that negative narrative. I wonder why Mike got that negative narrative, and I wonder why Sharif got kicked out the last flipping season. It's like, if you don't, I don't know, man. This show sometimes really is, it just kind of bugs me out sometimes when it comes to certain narratives like this that people are given, and it really pisses me off so much. Just stuff like this, it just kind of irks me. It really does. Well, hopefully we'll be using the hashtag Be Kind for him as well, because some people were saying in my last video about we should use a Be Kind for Lucy and stuff like this, but it's like Lucy was the one who was shading the hell out of people on her Instagram with the captions. Was she being kind then? Like, I don't understand. It's like, be real. Hashtag be real. Hashtag understand that your actions have consequences. Hashtag understand if you want to be rude or throw shade online, the people are going to be receptive of that or talk about it. So I don't understand. I find it very interesting. I just feel like this hashtag Be Kind is just there for innocent white women. I feel like it's just for them and nobody else, and it just irks me a lot, because where was any of that energy for when Amber and Yewande were being absolutely slammed left, right and centre on Twitter? I don't understand. Where is that energy for Anna, who was complaining about racism concerns, and as well as her sister? They may be troublesome or annoying or sometimes here or there, but they were complaining about abuse. Nobody really cared to use that energy for them. So I don't know, I find it interesting. I do find that interesting. It's a conversation I have for another video, but it laments in my mind when I watch documentaries like this that really kind of just pissed me off, because he obviously went through a lot when it comes to this situation, and it's just complete production bullshit. Like, they're forever changing narratives and giving people negative shit, and then for them to come out and then we dislike them. Like, I dislike Molly May so much on the show. Post the show, I actually didn't dislike her at all. I loved her for how ambitious she was, and the receipts are all there when it comes to my videos. But throughout the show, I thought she was, you know, being a negative. I thought she was just being fake. I thought she was faking it, and the producers gave us all that negative narrative. And what I hear about it is Islanders come out. Some of them come out and they're like, oh, you know, they get annoyed, or the audience or whatever would get annoyed as to why people would see them fake. But the Islanders, you know, they don't keep the same energy that they have for the audience that they have for the producers. The only reason you're being seen in XYZ light and why the audience dislikes you is because the producers have given you that negative narrative. And, you know, we've seen this take place so many times where a lot more behavior took place and we wouldn't be able to see it because the producers would cut certain stuff up. They have given you that certain negative narrative. Keep your energy with them, at them. Do you understand? We're only reacting to what we see. So it's just a very interesting conversation. Let me know your thoughts are when it comes to this video. Please do subscribe, click that button for daily and consistent content. Head over to my Instagram, Murad_Morali. I'm glad that he spoke about Priscilla. They clearly are a unit, and I really like that. And hopefully these two can be a very strong relationship and couple, and it could be one of the, you know, long-lasting couples from this season. So I really liked how he spoke about her as well. Do subscribe, and I'll catch you guys soon for another video.